A big day for lying it was today. But of course, a day when nobody was really going to call it out. That changes right now. Now, for how long have we referred to the Prime Minister as each way Albo? Because he says one thing and then it normally takes a couple of weeks before he ends up saying something completely different. Well, welcome to Each Way Albo GST edition. Da, 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 da. Now, you remember, when he went to Western Australia, there was a little campaign running in the front page of the West Australian newspaper. So a reporter from the West Australian newspaper was sent out to ask, would the Prime Minister sign a pledge that GST monies will not be moved away from Western Australia? Now, it just so helped that the Prime Minister had a texter. I mean, he was not aware this was going to happen, right? He was also completely unaware that the reporter used to work for his own government, literally, but that's by the by. Anyway, this was the Prime Minister signing a pledge with a texter he conveniently had in his pocket. No change to GST handouts for WA.
If we're going to have a stunt, let's do a good one. Let's go to a tattoo parlour. We can get it tattooed on, or I've got pens. Here you go. Here you go. Give us your arm. Come on.
I mean, how did he know this was happening? Is there any chance that the bloke who used to work for his government, who now's pretending to be the independent reporter, may have tipped him off? Whatever. Yesterday's news. But as you know, the distribution of GST funds is really important because it's the major source of revenue for all state governments. Now, inevitably, when there's one pie and everyone wants more than they had last time, people get annoyed. But when you have a big population like places like, say, Victoria or particularly New South Wales, where you feel you're putting too much in and everyone else is taking too much of the pie that you already have on your plate, well, you blow up. And the latest allocation is more for everyone else, a little bit less for New South Wales and Victoria. So the Labor state premier said this today.
If the previous regime was in place, we would have got 94 cents in the dollar. Now we're looking at a situation where we're going to get 86 cents in the dollar, and a lot of that money is going to be sent to Western Australia, which is chock full of cash from the mining boom, or down to Victoria, which is now a welfare state receiving a whole bunch of money from the pockets of New South Wales families. So
this is a little odd, Labor versus Labor. But remember, the Prime Minister is the one who can go to Western Australia and sign on somebody's arm what the allocation is going to be. You see, because he's in charge, right? Or this is each way Albo land. So when it's bad news, guess what?
I recognise the New South Wales Treasurer is new to his job, but the system has been there for a very long time. We have not changed the system. Every year there is a debate.
So you can make a promise in Western Australia, but it's not your decision in New South Wales? Would that be a little bit of each way Albo? We can't say it's a mystery. We told you up front. GST edition. Da, 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 da. Now, let us talk about another lie that we need to talk about today, and there's plenty of them around. I'm telling you, it was a great day for liars, a fantastic day for liars. Now, as we know, this government is pretending that they are doing everything they can when it comes to the cost of living, the number one issue of people around the country.
To make sure that we do what we can to put that downward pressure on cost of living.
And we want to help people with that.
Because we know that helping Tasmanians with their cost of living is the number one priority.
We help people through these cost of living pressures.
So, in the preparation and speculation, and I couldn't possibly rule it in and I couldn't possibly rule it out, game that we're going to play over the next few months about what is or isn't in the federal budget, when you're doing everything you can to deal with the cost of living, you've got a couple of surprises, like, say, giving back people the $1,500 that you took off them last year. Now, the expectation is that this government will either get very close to or probably get another surplus. Thank you very much. Mining in Western Australia. Thank you very much. Mining in Queensland, but shh, don't tell anyone. Apparently, the international export that we think we send around the world is good vibes from electric cars. The actual things we send around, not quite as environmentally friendly, but still, that's what props up our budget. Which is why, as we've talked about before, that we, the citizens, well, we are in a per capita recession. The government, however, well, it gets to just say 0.2%, 0.3% is enough to say we're still growing and we don't end up going into a technical recession. But everything they can do on cost of living, they are planning to do, right? Well, no. Because we learned today that the government has ruled a line under doing anything as significant as giving you $15 a week back of your own money. In fact, the tax cuts are the front and centre of the policy, and that's it. So, all the things they could do, we're pulling every lever we possibly can? Well, apparently not. Struggling households will need to make do with little extra in the May budget after Jim Chalmers declared there would be no cash splash but announced plans for a whole-of-government strategy to supercharge investment and underpin sustainable future growth. Rather than me reading it poorly, here's him saying it himself.
There will likely be additional cost of living help in the budget, but it won't be anywhere near the magnitude of those tax cuts. We are already providing a tax cut to every taxpayer and a bigger tax cut to more workers. We need to be upfront and say that any additional help will only be a fraction of that. Any extra help will be targeted, responsible and affordable. There will not be big cash splashes in the budget. It's as simple as that.
But you're doing absolutely everything you can, right? One of the things, of course, that they should be doing is to cut petrol prices. Why? Because 50 cents, 49 to be absolute about it, but 49 cents per litre is the amount that you pay in taxation. That is extraordinary. Not in the dollar, but in the litre. Right now, petrol prices, well, all over $2. Here's the latest numbers, which come from Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane. Remember, the toys being thrown out of the cot by Anthony Albanese pretending to care about this when it was $1.75. Scott Morrison doesn't know what's going on. Well, what the hell does he say about $2.24 right now for normal unleaded in Brisbane? You could make it a little bit cheaper by cutting the amount of tax, Prime Minister. But of course you have no interest in doing that, do you? Because it's decided by... No, it's decided by you. Ridiculous.